Well, it's a pleasure to be here today, George. It was a pleasure to sit up there with we were talking about it and said, gee, this is the first time we ever sat side by side, talking, and very interesting. Anyway, today, I hope I don't offend anybody or anything like that when I speak. Sometimes you never know what comes out of my mouth when I open it, okay? And also, these are my views. There are a lot of fact in here, though, but you'll be able to tell when it's my opinion, So anyway, welcome to Visalia, and welcome to Central California. This is the most productive agricultural land in the world. Can you believe that? The most productive agricultural land in the world, Central Valley. Just last month, on February 9th, 10th, and 11th, in Tulare, just a few miles down the road here, at the International Agri Center, we had the World Ag Expo. And it was tremendous. They had 1,500 exhibitors on 2.3 million square feet of exhibit room. Had 65 acres of parking. And let me tell you, that wasn't enough, because I went and I wasn't in the 65 acres. I was out in the south, well, actually it was the east 20. And so, the parking was tremendous. The parking must have been 80, 90 acres. And it was just tremendous. They had 1,500 exhibits, as I said, and there's a waiting list of 200 more exhibitors who want to get in. There were 49 different countries that were there. And there were, in that 3-day period, which is very short, I always wondered why they didn't run it longer. But in that 3-day period, they had well over 100,000 people come. And they didn't advertise it as being the world's biggest ag expo, but if it isn't, it's mighty close. And I took a few pictures while I was there. It's a little bit bigger than Reverend Marvin's tractor. As you can see, they had a lot of big equipment there, and they were all for sale. And these people were coming from all around the world, and they were looking at all these products. I mean, look how big that little boy, look at him, he's way down there, huh? And Japanese products, right? Whoa, I went too far. Let's see here, I got to go back. Previous. Oh, there we go. I was going to leave that until I said something. But anyway, Tulare County leads the nation. That's where we are right now. And Fresno is a very close second in agricultural productivity. And when I say productivity, I'm talking about not only quantity, but dollars too. So in the whole nation, we are right there at the top. And I don't know how many of you people knew that, but it's a big deal. And my question was going to be, can anyone tell me what the #1 agricultural commodity in Tulare County is? That's it. Dairy products. And last night I showed Ellen Tanimoto this picture, and I said, what do you think? She says, I don't like looking at the back end of a bunch of horses. And I don't know what Ellen was looking at. they're supposed to be cows. And right here, this is in Kerman, California. This is the Larry Shahadi Dairy, Producers Dairy. Do any of you people remember Producers Dairy? Hopalong Cassidy? Anyway, Hoppy was, and back when I was just a little kid, that's what I was drinking, Producers milk. And this dairy is about 7,000 cows. And it's not the largest, not by a long shot. As a matter of fact, in Kings County, which is just west of here, and Tulare County, there are what they call mega dairies, dairies that have over 10,000 cows. And so you can imagine. And can you imagine the work that goes along with that? Didn't Reverend Marvin say that you milk those cows twice a day? Can you imagine? Twice a day. You have to go through 10,000 or more cows. That's just mind-boggling. This is George Teruka's field truck, George. You know, that really isn't George's monster truck, but I know George could have built one. George, you know, man of many hats. He could have built this. He's the engineer, he's a welder, he did all that, and you know, and all that's based out of farming. And he's, you know, of course, all farmers, they're accountants, they're everything else, you know. They just wear so many hats. And they also go fishing and do all those other hats too, right? Golfing. Okay. Reverend Marvin's tractor. Actually, that's one of the drag tractors that were at the expo, and has over 40,000 horsepower because there's 4 engines there. Okay. So anyway, the second commodity when it comes to these are 2 counties here, leading in productivity and dollars, is almonds. And if you notice that those are beehives right there, and that these are almonds in bloom, and that was only taken like a week ago, and now all the petals are falling. And if you've noticed as you drive up here, drove here either from the north or the south, we are either oh, okay. And there's your almond close up. That's what it looks like, just pretty much just before they shake it. Okay. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to give you a short list of some of them are commodities. You know, we do have our dairy products, which I said lead. We have beef, chicken, and pork. Then we have also all the nuts. And I showed you those 2 pictures of the almonds in bloom with the beehives. And here are your pistachios. You know, they're a big deal right now. We also have grapes. That's Gallo Winery. This is the largest winery in the world, located in Fresno. And I couldn't get any closer than that to take a picture because of security. Okay? And we also have table grapes, and we have raisins. Okay, yeah, these are our table grapes. And right here, can anyone tell me what those are? And a guess? There we go. Oh, that's right. My wife, that's right. My wife told me, well, we should put something down there. I guess, well, it's not a KKK meeting or anything. Anyway, in the last 2 years, we've gone to this because a few years back we had a hard freeze. And when that hit, it killed all the young trees that were probably up to 3 years old. And literally killed them, the whole patch. Can you imagine? So farmers, being that all these trees cost so much money, you know, they're like that now. Now there are thousands of acres that look like this at this time. Okay? And here's our tangerines, our mikan. Next. And another one. And these are the wind machines that we have. We have these wind machines. We could use them, almost any time to protect for the bloom, also to protect the fruit. It just depends what time of year we have a freeze. And if you know, notice that they're run by propane tanks. And this picture was taken just outside of Sanger. And right now, these are peach trees in bloom. These are plum trees in bloom. And we've, what was it? 2 weeks ago, they opened the Blossom Trail. We have an area here that's about 25 miles long that starts in Reedley, goes through Sanger, and goes all around, and you could drive through that, and it's just beautiful during the bloom time. And right now, we're just headed toward the end of it right now. And other products that we have, these are our Asian vegetables. And I only took a portion of what it is. There are just so many of them. You know, we have like our gailan, your bok choy, and all those. We grow all that here. And so, as you can see, we have just a huge variety of fruits and vegetables. And we also have the hot products. Palm Wonderful. How many of you have heard of Palm Wonderful before? Okay, of course. You buy the big 2-gallon jug of pomegranate juice. Well, that's a hot item because of the antioxidants. And also other products like that are, are blueberries and kale. Kale is a big deal right now, so we grow all those things. And I'll show you some of the old things that we've done in farming. This is the old way. This is a vineyard that has been pulled out, and on a burn day, when it's legal and the wind's blowing, they let the farmers burn it. And here's the new way. These are cogeneration plants. They take that, grind it up. They grind up those vines and trees. They take them to the cogeneration plant. They turn it into electricity. So, kind of a much better thing to do, huh? And that smoke up there, of course, is filtered. It's not like the other smoke. Okay. And here's another cogen. And interestingly enough, another thing that they do with it, they'll take it in, they'll grind them up, and they'll mix them with seeds and a slurry of some sort of liquid. And the state or county buys it. And they spray it out on the side of the freeways. And what's in these seeds are wildflowers. And so when it rains, all of these beautiful flowers come up. And so that's another thing that they do with it. And the other thing they do with it is they grind it up and they take it back to the field and put it in the ground and turn it into humus. So making headway in more clear areas. And here's another one of our new technologies. This is a drip irrigation system. Almost everything being planted now is going to drip. We use less water that way. And it's a, it sounds real easy, huh? I turn on the water, I don't have to do anything. But every time you do it, you have to go out there and you do have to check the emitters, where the water's coming out of. All those little things get plugged up. So all the time you have to be going through there, otherwise, your orchard could die. And this came off a little small farm. Even small people are using solar units. Just amazing. Now, this came off a 20-acre ranch that has about 18 acres of grapes. And yet they're using solar power so that they can pump the water out of the ground. And here's another new thing that they've been doing is covering kiwi plants. Can you imagine? That's a real heavy, dark net over the top of the whole vineyard. And that's 60 acres. Can you imagine? It's just amazing. And they're using it to make sure that it stays cool in there. And these are netted seedless tangerine trees. Anyone know why they net them?
Keep the bees over shit.
Right. To keep the bees, right?
Right.
Okay. So we don't have cross-pollination. If we have another citrus tree nearby that has seeds in it, they'll cross-pollinate, and eventually, within probably 2 generations or 2 years, 2 seasons, you'll start having seeds in your tangerines. Or if the bees go to the jalapenos or something, and then go in there, you'll have to start having some hot tangerines. Right? And this is another, some of the new technology we're using. We're using drones out in the field now. They go out and you could check your workers, and you don't have to go out there and make sure they didn't run off on you. And also, they monitor field thermal conditions out in the field, and they can find out how their water is being taken up. That's a big deal. And other things that we do that are, well, not there. Not there. Other things that we do are like the crop dusters, the people who fly the pesticides and herbicides over the fields. They now use GPS. And back about 3 years ago, I saw my first plane flying at night and spraying. Can you imagine? They're flying 3 feet, 4 feet, or 5 feet above the ground or above their target, and it's going at night in the dark. But of course, the planes have a lot of lights on it, But I couldn't figure that out until I checked to find out. So technology is just amazing, way out there. And also, same thing with tractors. Those large tractors that you just saw are basically used on our west side, on big properties, and they could be run by GPS too. So in other words, you start on a straight line, you go down that road. If that's what you're going to do for 1 straight mile, it can do it. And when it gets to the end, it can turn around and come back. And they still use drivers, though, because what if something happens? So the drivers in there sleeping, right? That's what they do. Everyone's on their iPhones. So that's what they've been doing. So that's farming in a nutshell. And very interesting to see, what has happened in so many years. Next, I would like to tell you about the Buddhist temples and churches in Central California. In this immediate area of Fresno, Tulare, and Kings County, I was able to find 22 Buddhist temples or churches. There were also a number of meditation, yoga, and mindfulness centers. 7 of the temples are ours. They're Jodo Shinshu and they're BCA members. And they're the Dainuba Buddhist Church, the Buddhist Church of Fowler, the Fresno Betsuing Buddhist Temple, the Fresno Dharma Center, the Hanford Buddhist Church, the Buddhist Church of Parlier, and the Reedley Buddhist Church, and the Visaya Buddhist Temple. And I did that for a reason, because, you know, church and temple, and I think everyone wants you to say it the right way, you know, and that's how it was in our directory. So, and these 7 entities are under the watchful guidance of Imban Kake Nakagawa, Reverend Alan Sakamoto, and Reverend Matthew Hamasaki. Because of the wisdom and compassion of our forefathers, the Iseis and the Niseis built these churches. And it was like what George was saying. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. The Sansei, the 3rd generation, people like me, and all those who follow, they will have the Buddha Dharma. The other temples or churches in Central California have a Tibetan, Chinese, Korean, or a Southeast Asian background. Since the end of the Vietnam War, you know, we've had a large influx of Vietnamese, Cambodians, Laotians, and other Southeast Asians. I think my paper's must have missed a page here. Anyway, let's tie this in a little bit better then. We do have going back to farming, I guess, 2,500 years ago, the Buddha spoke of interdependence, and agriculture is another example of interdependence. Look how many people are involved. It's just an infinite number. Processing, shipping, growing, just amazing. Can you imagine what's involved in just a bowl of ice cream? You know, can you imagine? You go to the store, you see the ice cream, so you want to buy it. So you go to the check stand. Well, there's the guy, right? You check. Well, you're at the grocery store, so you're at the store too. And all these people are there. You know, and the ice cream is kept in a freezer. So you have this refrigeration unit. All these people who made the refrigeration unit, right? And then we have the transportation. And then you say, oh yeah, transportation. Well, you got to think about the roads. You got to think about the tires. You know, everything, every little thing, every little screw that's put onto that truck. Look how many people. I mean, we haven't even got back to the dairy yet, right? And then the dairy, same thing. Or not even yet. The processor. The processor. We have strawberries, chocolate, you know, all these things we put into it. And look, that just spreads out again. So it's that thing is interdependence. We're dependent on everybody. Everybody's connected. And Also true, you know, that's what the Buddha said a long time ago, and it's all true about agriculture for sure. And 2,500 years ago, he also spoke of impermanence. And in the last 20 years, especially the last 10, agriculture has changed. We've gone high tech. You know, it's not back what George was showing or even what Reverend Marvin was showing. You know, we've gone beyond that. And it's just amazing. And I tried to show you some slides earlier about the solar power and all those things, the cogeneration plants. And we have changed and we're in the new world. So that's where we're at now. And going back to the farming end of it, farming is a good life, and farming is a hard life. Farmers are patient. Farmers are humble. And I'm not talking just about Japanese farmers. I'm talking about all the other farmers all around the world. Sounds kind of like Buddhism to me. So the Eightfold Path, the Six Paramitas, very, very much. Okay. Farmers in California have a big problem. How many of you have heard of the California drought? Right? How many of you have felt it? I mean, literally felt it. Has it bothered you in any way? Well, I know in Central California it bothers us a lot, you know. There are good examples of people just not making it. And El Nino is another thing that we're looking at right now. And as of yesterday, I heard that they said the El Nino has helped our California drought 2%. And it's because the month of February has actually been a bust. We only had a day and a half of rain, and it hardly rained. And so, you know, because we're in such a hole, we're going back in that hole right now at this moment. Hopefully this weekend will rain. Do you know where you get your water from? Do the people in the Bay Area know where you get your water from? Hetch Hetchy. Very good. I'm glad you know that. You get some of it from Hetch Hetchy. You get about 2/3 of the Bay Area water comes from Hetch Hetchy or a close reservoir near it. Hetch Hetchy is in the Yosemite National Park. That's where it's at. And the reason you get your water is because you have federal contracts. Pretty nice. The people in the Los Angeles area, San Diego area, do you know where you get your water from? Shasta. Shasta? Okay, right. You get some of Shasta. There are other reservoirs. But you do, from this side of the state, 30% on a normal year of the water flows down the California aqueduct and is pumped over. So 30%. Yeah. So food grows where water flows. Next. The water crisis. We have these signs all over the place. And here is one thing that is something that bothers us. It says, no water, loss of jobs. Here in Central California, we have a loss of jobs that are big time. There are like 125,000 people every month who are given food and water. Next. Gee, I think one was missing. Go back one. Oh, yeah, another one, another one. Oh, okay. How about one more? Okay, that's all right. Let's go back to the snow. So anyway, this is our snowpack in Yosemite. And that's where we get our water from too, here in Central California. Central California, we also have a contract with the federal government that says we can get water just like the people in the Bay Area do. But our contract is null and void, basically speaking, because of the Endangered Species Act. There is the Delta smelt. And so we don't lose the Delta smelt. They won't allow the water to come to the farmers, which is unfortunate, I thought. It's kind of like Kramer versus Kramer, or Roe versus Wade. This is like fish versus man. And I do believe fish is winning, or maybe the fish has won. And because right now, if we're lucky, we here in Central California are going to be allowed at only 15% of the water. And what it's doing is we sit on water right now. We have a large aquifer that we're sitting on top of right now. And but it's going down so fast. Towns like Porterville, Exeter, just east of here, water's gone. And they're bringing in water from all over the place, you know, just so that they could drink. And anyway, so there are so many things going on that aren't very good. Also, the people from the LA area are also getting water from the Colorado River too. And you're also getting it from the snowpack from Mount Shasta and other reservoirs that are directly east of here or a little bit southeast of here. And I'm about ready to wind up if I could find my last page. Looks like there's one missing. Terrible, huh? Stuff like this. Oh, by the way, because of that Delta smelt, you know, we are losing. We have sent to the ocean, probably at this time, 2 trillion gallons of water that was not used by anybody. Instead, we sent it out to the ocean. And someone was telling me that the oceans are getting too full already, aren't they? That's what I was told because of global warming. So anyway, if you get a chance to vote for water storage, read your initiative carefully. Make an educated decision and vote. But whatever way you vote, I don't care which way you vote, you do have to vote, all right? It seems to me that this world nowadays is kind of upside down. And especially, I don't know if I want to say this, especially this state. It's upside down, seems to be run by politics, personal agendas, and money. And it seems to me that's not a good thing. In my heart, I truly believe that we will move forward in the best way possible by following the middle path, the middle way. Not too far to the left, not too far to the right. And we are quite a far ways to the left right now in the state. And I think if we could pull ourselves a little bit more toward the center, that middle path, just like the Buddha said, I think we're going to move forward a lot better in the future. The world is in our hands, each and every one of us. Thank you.